Greetings. I have new orders for you. If we're going to have a chance at breaking away from Sela and the Tal Shair, we need allies. There are a lot of little settlements like yours out there. We're in contact with some of them, but we're always reaching out to try to make new alliances. I've heard that a group of Romulans has taken up residence in a Suliban Helix in the Beta Quadrant. I'd like you to visit them. Feel them out, help them if you can. But most of all, find out if they would be willing to join Detan in his search for a new homeworld.
After our rendezvous with the Romulan flotilla, our ship adopts the prefix RRW for Romulan Republic Warbird, instead of the IRW for the Imperial Romulans. This marks another step down a path of alliance with the Republic. At this time, we barely have more than a collection of ships, and half of them are as archaic as our Daera Warbird. Not a force to be reckoned with. Our focus needs to be finding security, as we've presented ourselves as a target for the Star Empire, and the Tal Shair in particular, after dealing a blow to Colonel Hakiv. These refugees might not be the greatest allies in terms of strength and numbers, but at the moment any help would be appreciated, and we need to look out for our own people. The curious silhouette of a Suliban station forms in the distance as we approach.
We've arrived at the Helix, but we're not the only ship here. A Tal Shair warbird is approaching from the direction of the primary structure. They haven't raised shields yet, but their weapons are online. Wait, they're hailing us. Your orders?
You're asking me? On screen.
To the person in command, be advised, you are in violation of Tal Shair Security Order 63-R. Your vessel is operating in this area without authorization. Identify yourself immediately, or your actions will be considered hostile. You don't want that kind of trouble.
Oh, Commander Talek of the IRW Shadar seems to be under the impression that we respect his authority.
The Tal Shair has the authority to track down terrorists that threaten the Romulan Star Empire, no matter where they try to hide. And don't bother with deception. Our records indicate a warbird with your ship's designation was decommissioned years ago. We've already identified you. Stealing military property is a serious crime. Care to explain, Commander?
Oh, so that's why you put me in charge, was it, Kev? The Tal Shair vessel attacks us, but after the repairs and maintenance performed by the Republic, our vessel can at least stand against a Tavaro light warbird. If this is all the Tal Shair sent, then clearly they weren't expecting resistance. We're not likely to receive help from the Helix. Our ship's cloaking device is once again operational, so we make good use of it to close to an attack distance. There, that wasn't too much trouble. Let's open a hailing frequency to this Helix.
We plead for mercy. There are only civilians on the Helix. We don't have much more than we can scavenge from the cell ships. As we told the other Tal Shair, there are no terrorists here. The Cabal are long gone. Take whatever scrap you need, but please stop taking our people.
He seems to be under the impression that we're part of the Tal Shair. Well, before we rectify that, let's use that intimidation factor to get some more information. Tell me about the Helix.
Helix originally had hundreds of connected cell ships that could support up to 3,000 people. It and other similar stations were constructed after the destruction of our homeworld. This Helix was abandoned decades ago for unknown reasons. My people are nomadic, and so we've returned to salvage what we can. So far, we've survived by trading scrap from the station for supplies.
Oh, and we're not here to rob you.
Then why are you here? We don't have much to trade, and we don't want any trouble.
We're looking for any Romulans that may be aboard your station.
There are a few Romulan refugees hiding within the Helix. They said they needed temporary shelter and would be leaving soon. We meant no harm. How were we to know they are wanted terrorists? Please just take them with you and go.
Okay, we're not actually with the Tal Shair.
Your actions speak for your true goals. If you help us by repairing the Helix arm structures, then we'll help you get the refugees to your ship. But hurry. We're in jeopardy every moment you remain here.
I can't really blame him for outing the refugees like that. After all, he's looking out for his own people, and these Romulans are being chased by the Tal Shair. The Suliban were a race that featured prominently in galactic affairs in the early 2150s, but soon fell into obscurity. Records say that they were pawns in a temporal Cold War between the Federation and an unknown force. Of course, due to time travel, most of this took place before the Federation was ever founded, as these agents attempted to change history. In order to do this, they granted the Cabal, a movement within the Suliban, genetic abilities beyond their time and used them as agents, as they themselves could not enter the past. This interference, however, did not do much to alter the status quo of the species. Originally, they were a nomadic people after the destruction of their homeworld in the 1800s, and they returned to being such after the Cabal's acts. This strange collection of pods is a Suliban Helix, a central station surrounded by magnetically locked pods that form this greater structure, sharing space and power. This station could house around 3,000 people in its prime, but now with its components spread out like this, most of it may be uninhabited. This system seems to be based on the one we saw in the Enterprise episodes, and it may very well be the same one, as it was abandoned in the mid-22nd century, has a Class 7 gas giant in the same system, and is only 2 sectors from Kronos. However, that helix was located within the upper atmosphere of the giant for concealment, and this one clearly appears to be in orbit, unless it was moved here. Being a nomadic people, it's not unreasonable to assume that the reason for the bizarre design of these stations was that they could be reduced into its component cell ships, moved en masse, and then reconstructed in a new location. Perhaps in order to prevent its position decaying, it shifted into orbit. However it got here, it is indeed in a state of disrepair. Using our tractor emitter, we may be able to reassemble these arm-like structures into the main body.
More Tal Shair have entered the system. Please help us.
We're already helping you by repairing your station, but I suppose we better make a better impression than the Star Empire.
One more to go. As soon as Delta is connected, we can negotiate a transfer.
Well, getting to the Delta arm is going to be a bit trickier as the Tal Shair reinforcements are drawing closer. We initiate our cloak once again, and light is distorted around the Daera, rendering us invisible to senses and sight. As before, we slide into an advantageous firing position and lock weapons on the unsuspecting Tavaro warbird. Our opening salvo of plasma weapons overloads their shields in seconds and leaves them vulnerable. We're able to take out the enemy vessel with minimum fuss. The second Tavaro has seen us, however, and is drawing in. This is a more level fight across the cell ship littered expanse, but once again, thanks to the Republic for overseeing our repairs, our clunky old warbird proves victorious. With the Tal Shair gone, we're free to restore the final docking arm.
More Tal Shair ships are entering the area.
Well shit. A trio of vessels has arrived. I suspect they made up a scouting party that was looking throughout the sector for more refugees. The first ship we encountered must have signalled that it had located the Suliban Helix's residence and their sheltered Romulans, and now the rest have arrived.
Now that the arms are restored, we've located the refugees. They are being moved to a centralized location so you can get a transporter lock. We've explained the situation to them, but a representative for the group is asking to speak with you.
Well, that's only fair. Put them on.
Kayan informs me that we're being transported to your vessel. We realize that we can't stay on the Helix, but we have no intention of being forced into servitude. The Tal Shair already destroyed our home. All we want is for you to leave us on an uninhabited world, or someplace we can hide and try to rebuild our lives.
Yeah, funny story. The Tal Shair destroyed the last colony world I was a part of. Datan offers us shelter, at least. All I can say is that we're safer in a group.
We've heard of Datan. We've also heard rumors that he's plotting a revolt against the Tal Shair. Going to him sounds more dangerous than staying here.
Really?
I know I'm out of options. That doesn't mean I have to like it. I don't know why the Tal Shair are abducting our families, but we can't afford to lose anyone else. How about I make you a deal? You personally guarantee that my friends will be safe at Datan's fleet, and I'll work for you.
I do one mission for the Republic and suddenly I'm in charge.
I've served as a science officer on multiple civilian vessels. I can help you. I can't run anymore. If I need to fight the Tal Shair to keep my friends safe, that's what I'll do.
At this point, we can uphold our favour to Tovin Kev and ask if his sister, Vrina, is among Sutra's group.
Vrina Kev? No, I don't know anyone by that name.
Well, it was a shot in the dark, but we did promise we'd ask around for him. We locate the Romulan life signs and we beam them aboard.
All the refugees are aboard, but there's more trouble. A Tal Shair battleship, the IRW Koval, has entered the system. They're hailing us, and they're asking for you by name. Remember, they're not here to be friends.
Next time, Tovin, you can be the commander. Put them on.
You are ordered to stand down. You are wanted for questioning by the Tal Shair. Lower your shields and surrender your vessel and crew, or prepare to face the consequences.
The Tal Shair are corrupt, but if you apologise nicely, I might let you go.
Your actions speak for themselves. You'll answer for the destruction you've caused today. Remember, you were given a chance to surrender.
I recommend using our cloaking device to get close enough for a sneak attack.
Tovin, I was joking about being the commander. Now, this is a classic Romulan modus operandi. They usually attempt to provoke a reaction so that they have ample justification for a response. Commander Morlock here can now destroy us and say that we turned down a diplomatic option. All throughout the Empire's clashes with the Federation, we've seen them employ this tactic on a number of missions. Lure ships into the neutral zone by furtively destroying vessels along the border, decloaking with weapons armed and locked on to a Starfleet vessel but not firing the opening shot, instead hoping that their threatening posture would cause some twitchy captain to fire first. This methodology is a hallmark of an Empire whose thinking is as derelict as this station. The Romulan sense of superiority is ingrained into the species, but it doesn't have to be the governing factor. Pride did as much damage to the Empire as Hobus ever did, and that will be the Tal Shair's weakness. The enemy vessel, the IRW Koval, is a Mogai heavy warbird, a variant of the Valdor class that was seen in the Star Trek Nemesis film, and in every aspect it's a superior ship. But they're just sitting there at the edge of the debris, confident in their ability to weather any attack from our tiny warbird. Using the cloak, we've closed in right behind them, powered our weapons, and we launch our surprise attack. Most of their plasma weaponry is forward-facing, as its hawkish profile would suggest. From behind, they can only pepper us with turrets as they attempt to manoeuvre to shield their weakened stern. Our close-range surprise attack has broken through their shields and created a vulnerability. Now it's up to us to keep track of that opening and hammer home our advantage. And our little ship has one more trick that we can use. Firing off our weapons generates excess plasma that we can then vent in a massive shockwave. Ooh, the Koval did not like that. I think its systems are failing. With that dealt with, the Suliban commander contacts us.
Thank you for taking the refugees. Tell them we're sorry. We simply have no way to protect them. Hopefully they'll find refuge with your fleet. Our best hope now is to cooperate with the Tal Shair and tell them that you have taken the refugees.
I completely understand. We're not his problem, and the Tal Shair are going to want to know what happened here.
We can't offer much, but I'll tell other Suliban that Detan's fleet is standing up to the Tal Shair. I'm also sending you the contact for a friendly local trader in case you need salvage or have goods to sell. But please, keep our involvement discreet. And please go. Leave now before more Tal Shair arrive.
Thank you, Cayenne, and that is a very good idea.
Cayenne closed the channel. He's right. They'll be lucky if the Tal Shair let them live. We should leave and report back to Tamer. Some of the refugees we brought aboard may have starship experience. If we're expecting more trouble, we'll need some help on the bridge.
We'll give the refugees a good home here. They'll be safe, and we'll do all we can to help them. This is just the start. We won't stop until we're on a new world, one of our own.
The Suliban are a people used to looking out for themselves, but that's because they've been preyed on and used by other powers, and even their own cabal within their history. Now Romulans everywhere find themselves in a similar situation, so I can't really blame Cayenne for notifying the Tal Shair of what happened. If he didn't, interrogation and torture await his people. Besides, it doesn't do any harm to us now that we're long gone. Let's just hope that the Republic can do better than they have at rebuilding a society. The Suliban never even managed to establish a new home planet, and we can't let that happen to us. This mission serves to show us the similarities between our two people and where we might end up if we fail. So thank you for joining the crew of the Daera on their mission to establish a new Romulus, and I hope you'll join me next part for the continuing narrative of Star Trek Online. Until then, thanks again for watching, and Jolan True.